The pandemic has been hurtful for everyone on Earth, but today we're going to get an up-close and personal look at how it has affected a local driver's ed school in Lahaina.
My name is David Hufalar, owner-operator of ACET Driving School, and I teach driver's education to adults and teen drivers.
Before we can fully understand how the pandemic affected Mr. Hufalar and ACET driving, we need to understand what driver's ed is and why it's important.
And knowledge is power when you teach people how to drive, so it's very important. It's a lifetime skill. That's what I always tell my students. This is one of those courses that you take in life, in like high school, that you'll remember for the rest of your life. Because 5-10 years from now, you'll be still using the same skills.
As you can imagine, the lockdowns must have been very difficult for Mr. Hufalar to deal with.
I had a classroom going on. It was doing my spring session. I had like 48 kids in the classroom, and we knew COVID was happening because it was in the news. I had a feeling they was going to close it. So on the third day, we all showed up at Lahaina Intermediate. All my students was ready to go into class. Administration told me, sorry, Dave, Governor Ige closed all public facilities, including the school, so I wasn't able to go in. At first, it was very uncomfortable, uncertainty. It's not a good feeling, not knowing, what's going to happen. It's been tough. I had to close for 4 months, where I wasn't able to do any driving, no classrooms. We're in limbo for 4 months. I think that was the hardest part, not being able to communicate with anyone, because I didn't know what was going to happen.
Through all of this struggle, Mr. Hufalar has found a way to keep his business alive.
It was a difficult transition at first because I've been doing classroom for like 20 years. When COVID happened, they gave another option. The state said that we could do virtual, but they didn't really give me much time to prepare. And I think like everyone else for all the schools, we weren't given much resources or guidance. So what was available was Zoom, and I was very lucky because my wife was already doing Zoom classes, so she gave me a lot of good ideas. In classroom, I could talk to them face to face, see their reaction, versus online, there's no reaction, it's muted, and it's like I'm talking to myself. The learning is not as good. Classroom is 100% better. Yeah, I wish I was with my classroom. I miss my students, hey. But it is what it is. It's still cool. I can still see them.
Although he is separated from his students and there was a lot of hurt, he found it as a good learning experience.
I think like everyone else, you cannot take anything for granted. You cannot just feel that tomorrow's promised. It made me realize that I need to slow down because I was going 100 miles an hour for like too many years, and I realized that I missed a lot of time with my kids, my family time. My kids are not in school, so I can spend time with them at home. So I'm glad we're on the verge of breaking through this whole thing, hopefully.
With Mr. Hufalar's high hopes for the future, that he'll be able to go back to classroom with his students, he knows that we should always be grateful for what we have and never take anything for granted. This is Joe Navarro from Lahaina Luna High School for Hiki No.